Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, narrated Maimuna radiallahu ta'ala anha, Allah Apostle sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to pray on a humrah. Narrated Abu Salama, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, the wife of Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, I used to sleep in front of Allah Apostle sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and my legs were opposite his qibla, and in prostration he pushed my legs, and I withdrew them, and when he stood, I stretched them. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha added, in those days the houses were without lights. Narrated Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, Allah Apostle prayed while I was laying like a dead body on his family bed between him and his qibla. Narrated Urwa, the Prophet ﷺ prayed while Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha was laying between him and his qibla on the bed on which they used to sleep. Narrated Anas bin Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu, we used to pray with the Prophet ﷺ, and some of us used to place the ends of their clothes and the place of prostration because of scorching heat. Narrated Abu Masalma, Said bin Yazid al-Azdi, I asked Anas bin Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu whether the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam had ever prayed with his shoes on. He replied, yes. Narrated Ibrahim, Hammam bin al-Ard said, I saw Jarir bin Abdullah urinating. Then he performed ablution and passed his wet hands over his hoofs, socks made from the thick fabric or leather, stood up and prayed. He was asked about it. He replied that he had seen the Prophet ﷺ doing the same. They approved of this narration as Jarir was one of those who embraced Islam very late. Narrated Al-Mughira bin Shuba radiallahu ta'ala anhu, I helped the Prophet ﷺ in performing ablution, and he passed his wet hands over his hoofs and prayed. Narrated Hudayfa that he saw a person bowing and prostrating imperfectly. When he finished his salat, Hudayfa told him that he had not offered salat. The sub-narrator added, I think that Hudayfa also said, for you to die, you would die on a sunnah, illegal way, other than that of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Narrated Abdullah bin Malik ibn Buhaina, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed, he used to separate his arms from his body so widely that he witness of his armpits was visible. Narrated Anas bin Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Allah Apostle sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whoever prays like us and faces our qibla and eats our slaughtered animals is a Muslim and is under Allah's and his Apostle sallallahu alayhi wasallam's protection. So do not betray Allah by betraying those who are in his protection. Narrated Anas bin Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Allah Apostle sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, I have been ordered to fight the people till they say, none has to be right to be worshipped but Allah. And if they say, so pray like our prayers and face our qibla and slaughter as we slaughter, then their blood and property will be sacred to us, and we will not interfere with them except legally, and their reckoning will be with Allah. Narrated Maimun bin Siyah that he asked Anas bin Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu, O Abu Hamza, what makes the life and property of a person sacred? He replied, whoever says, none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, faces our qibla during the prayers, prays like us, and eats our slaughtered animal. that he is a Muslim and he got the same rights and obligation as other Muslims have. Narrated Abu Ayyub al-Ansari radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, while defecating, neither face nor turn your back to the Qibla, but face either east or west. Abu Ayyub added, when we arrived in Sham, we have came across some lavatories facing the Qibla. Therefore, we turned ourselves while using them and asked for Allah forgiveness. Narrated Amr bin Dinar, I asked Ibn Umar, can a person who has performed the tawaf around the Kaaba, Umrah, but has not performed the Sa'i tawaf of Safa and Marwa, has a sexual relation with his wife? Ibn Umar replied, when the Prophet ﷺ reached Mecca, he performed the tawaf around the Kaaba and offered 2 rakat prayer at the place behind the station of Ibrahim, and then performed the tawaf, sa'i of Safa and Marwa. And verily, in Allah's Apostle ﷺ, you have a good example. Then we put the same question to Jabir bin Abdullah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and he too replied, he should not go near to his wife for sexual relation till he has finished the tawaf of Safa and Marwa. Narrated Mujahid, some came to Ibn Umar and said, here is Allah Apostle sallallahu alaihi wasallam entering the Kaaba. Ibn Umar said, I went there, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had come out of the Kaaba, and I found Bilal standing between its 2 doors. I asked Bilal, did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam pray in the Kaaba? Bilal replied, yes, he prayed 2 rakat at between the 2 pillars which are to your left on entering the Kaaba. When Allah Apostle sallallahu alaihi wasallam came out and offered a 2 rakat prayer facing the Kaaba. Narrated Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered the Kaaba, he invoked Allah in each and every side of it and did not pray till he came out of it, and offered a 2 rakat prayer facing the Kaaba and said, this is the Qibla. Narrated Barah bin Azib radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Allah Apostle sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed facing Baitul Maqdis for 16 to 17 months. But he loved to face the Kaaba at Mecca, so Allah revealed, verily, we have seen the turning of your face to the heaven. So the Prophet ﷺ faced the Kaaba, and the fool amongst the people, namely the Jews, said, what has turned them from their Qibla, Baitul Maqdis, which they formerly observed? Allah revealed, say, to Allah belong the east and west. He guides whom He will to a straight path. A man prayed with the Prophet ﷺ facing the Kaaba and went out. He saw some of the Ansar praying the Asr prayer with their faces toward Baitul Maqdis. He said, I bear witness that I prayed with Allah Apostle ﷺ facing the Kaaba. So all the people turned their faces toward the Kaaba. Narrated Jabir, Allah Apostle ﷺ used to pray optional non-obligatory prayer while riding on his mount, Rahila, wherever it turns, and whenever he wanted to pray the compulsory prayer, he dismounted and prayed facing the Qibla.